That shot was powered by air. Just plain, simple air. Thank you, Pat. Ordinary air has saved many a pilot and sailor, too. Used to inflate a life raft like this. And although you might not have stopped to think about it, much of man's progress can be measured by his understanding and use of air and air currents. Air to move boats, air to do heavy work, to operate brakes on trains and trucks, to support man's flying machines. And here, absolutely still air in the hollow parts of insulation keeps heat in or out of our homes and appliances. The same principle of air in suspension operates to keep liquids warm or cold in vacuum bottles like this. Air at controlled temperatures to cool our homes in summer and warm them in winter. Yes, man's mastery and control of air and its behavior affects all our lives. Controlled air guards our comfort, even protects the foods we eat. For refrigerated air is the basis of all fresh food storage. Yet, even in this field, the ultimate had not been achieved until, during the past 5 years, work in the Philco refrigeration laboratories led to discoveries so profound, so basic, that completely new means were found for controlling and refrigerating air. New methods of directing airflow and air behavior that promise a brand new concept of home food storage. Refrigerated storage never possible before Philco perfected Air Wrap. As a general rule, the research engineers in the advanced design section of a modern appliance manufacturer observe a code of secrecy that would do credit to the CIA. Yet, not too long ago, Philco Engineers made refrigeration discoveries so important and so basically vital to the whole science of food preservation that the development, the facts behind it, and the methods employed were reported in full to the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers long before Philco introduced this development in its 1960 refrigerator line. Competitive as the business is, American appliance manufacturers constantly strive to provide the best refrigeration possible. That's why not just gimmicks, but actual basic industry-changing discoveries are reported to all leading engineers at meetings of the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. Engineers, with their knowledge of refrigeration science, accepted this development without question. But does the consumer accept without question every manufacturer's claim of superiority? No, indeed. The consumer wants proof. So, Philco went direct to the United States Testing Company. In their completely equipped laboratories, U.S. testing checks everything, from the resiliency of mattresses to the breaking point of bridge beams. These independent research engineers bought the top comparable models of 6 competitive refrigerators, made controlled food tests in all of them, and when they were done, in the exact words of the United States Testing Company,
based upon the observations made during a 15-day storage period of 13 representative foods stored in each refrigerator, the refrigerators may be ranked in order of food preservation effectiveness as follows. Most effective, Philco Air Wrap. Second,
that's the exact report from the laboratories of the United States Testing Company. To simplify it, we use what the movie makers called time-lapse photography. Now, that's the sort of thing that lets you watch a flower bloom. This intervalometer activates an automatic machine that opens the refrigerator door and turns on the movie camera every 10 minutes, night and day. So you can see simulated in a few seconds what was documented in days or weeks at the United States Testing Company. For example, in this fine deluxe refrigerator, unwrapped lunch meat was stored according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Here's what happened. At 1 day, at 2 days, at 4 days, and in 7 days, no housewife would want to serve that piece of lunch meat. Although the refrigerating temperature was correct, too much air movement and low humidity spoiled that meat. 7 days is the average of every refrigerator tested. Only one competitor kept lunch meat as long as 8 days. Now, here's exactly the same test, also corroborated by United States Testing, in a new Philco refrigerator with the advanced air wrap design. No wrapping, no separating, no covers. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4, 5, 6, a full week, and still it goes on. Notice it's still perfect. 10. All the way up to 15 days. Now here's the same test, seen side by side. There's the meat from the Philco after 15 days. Still perfectly wholesome. Wonderfully good on a plate or in a sandwich. But keeping just one type of food doesn't prove too much. As you know, for years, Philco has provided a meat locker that keeps all meat far beyond ordinary refrigerators. In fact, some competitors have now copied Philco's original meat locker design, and as a result, make claims like these in their advertising. What counts most is keeping all foods conveniently and safely. There's $2.95 worth of food. Now watch this. Everything, meat, ground round, vegetables, sliced tomatoes, pork chops, and even leftovers like whipped cream and mashed potatoes. They all go unwrapped and unsorted into Philco's Air Wrap Compartment. Now, exactly the same load goes into every one of the deluxe refrigerators made by the other manufacturers. All food stored in the compartment or compartments recommended by the manufacturer. Now, once again, we're going to have to count time with the special movie cameras, because when United States Testing Company laboratories ran this test, it took 15 days. And after the first 7 days, here are the results. Starting with a total of $2.95 worth of food, refrigerator A had only 68 cents worth of food still usable. The best non-Philco refrigerator had only $2.21 worth left. Yet Philco, with exactly the same load, still had the full $2.95 worth of attractive, servable food. And after 15 days, the best of all competitive refrigerators had only 51 cents worth of food, while refrigerator A had no usable food. Yet Philco with Air Wrap still had $1.16 worth left after 15 days from the original $2.95 worth. These are the exact figures. They proved Philco effected at least twice the money savings in food over any competitive refrigerator tested. In fact, in these tests, competitive refrigerators scored as low as a flat 0. How can Philco be so much better? Philco's new, scientifically designed, nationally reported air wrap development is the answer. It's a completely new refrigeration feature, unlike anything else that's ever been available in a refrigerator before. Air wrap is a completely new development in food preservation that keeps all foods better than they've ever been kept before, and all without covering, wrapping, or separating. As the engineer explains,
these data show that decreasing temperature to near freezing while raising humidity and minimizing air movement decreases microbial growth, retards desiccation, and significantly extends the attractive life of foods. In effect, the special compartment and the foods in it are wrapped with protective air.
or to put it another way, here's the best refrigeration in the world. A cake of ice hollowed out with the food sealed inside it. Philco research proved that maximum fresh food preservation occurs when you have maximum humidity combined with a temperature just above freezing and absolutely no air movement. Exactly the conditions you'd find in a hollow cake of ice. That's the way to end sinful waste of food. Obviously, this is just an experiment because there's no practical way to open and close a cake of ice. And the conditions it provides are hard to duplicate in an electric refrigerator. Take high humidity, for example. Remember what happened to those old wet wall refrigerators? They had high humidity, with the resultant running, sloppy water inside. And while it helped with some foods, unscientific temperatures plus uncontrolled air movement ruined the effect by spoiling other foods. And how about preventing air movement? Well, you'd think any ordinary closed compartment would do that, but it doesn't. In fact, even sealing the compartment wouldn't usually stop air movement, because you see, air has some funny characteristics. Among them, a sort of an attraction that makes air move toward the coldest spot. Air movement occurs whenever any one side is a different temperature from any other one. Door openings, kitchen temperatures, airflow from the evaporator, at least a dozen things make air move in a refrigerator. And that movement speeds the drying and spoilage of food. So here's the problem. Build a refrigerator with maximum humidity, temperatures around 33 degrees, and no air movement. That makes maximum food protection. And here's the first refrigerator in history that can do that. The new Philco with its air wrap compartment. Now let's go over the whole story carefully. As you know, many manufacturers went to the use of a fan some time ago. A fan blew cold air through the refrigerator from the evaporator. This successfully lowered temperatures, but the moving air caused foods to dry out rapidly. Therefore, Philco engineered its former refrigerators to avoid the use of fan-forced air. However, fan-forced air does not in any way affect such refrigerator foods as bottled milk and other packaged foods. Although an improperly designed fan system can dry out many fresh foods. So there's both merit and demerit in fan-forced systems. Well, this model shows how Philco has taken the best of both systems. In the general storage compartment, fan-forced refrigerated air produces even, fast refrigeration at preferred temperatures for milk and so on. But in this air wrap compartment, air is as still as you can get it. All moving air is outside. Cold air at the threshold of freezing is forced through special tunnels across all surfaces of the air wrap compartment. Now, coming out these vents, here's how it works in Philco's new refrigerator. This controlled temperature air crosses the front of the section and then is conducted up and across the top. Because of the phenomenon of air's attraction to cold surfaces, this continues even when the refrigerator door is opened for ordinary lengths of time. At the bottom, a special series of insulating baffles brings air from the freezer to just the same temperature as the sides and top. Remember, all moving air is outside this sealed air wrap compartment. For the first time in history, Philco has duplicated the maximum humidity, absolutely still air, and threshold of freezing temperatures found in nature's finest refrigerator, the hollowed inside of a cake of ice. The result? The entire section is wrapped with air at precisely the same temperature. The compartment walls are all the same temperature. So inside, there's no air movement. Maximum humidity can be maintained. Temperatures are just above freezing, and food waste is reduced by 25 to 97% over other deluxe refrigerators tested. Remember, when Philco talks about air-wrapped storage, that means for all fresh foods, unwrapped and uncovered. Up to 9 days for ground round steak, 15 days for steaks, 11 for pork chops, 15 days for an unwrapped ham sandwich, 15 days for green vegetables, 13 days for sliced tomatoes. Not just by Philco claim, but in the signed, attested reports from the United States Testing Company laboratories. For this is no gimmick, no trick attachment, nor merely just a new convenient accessory. As further assurance, the United States Testing Company states,
before any of this motion picture was committed to film, U.S. testing checked every word and every shot in the script concerning the tests that we have made with Philco's new air wrap development. We are able to state that everything you have seen and heard quoting us about Philco's air wrap and its powers of food preservation is true, as proved by controlled tests in our laboratories at the U.S. Testing Company. Signed, U.S. Testing Company by...
That's the story of the first refrigerator that keeps all foods better, keeps all foods longer, and keeps all foods safer than ever before. It's a big story in itself, but there's even more to it. One of the chores that women have always disliked is defrosting or scraping the ice out of the freezer. Now, in Philco Air Wrap Refrigerator, Philco Engineers have been able to incorporate a new, completely automatic frost-free system. Now, that means that a housewife need never even think about it. Using a new method that defrosts the coils from the inside out without an electric heater, plus a specially engineered airflow system, Philco has succeeded in providing completely automatic defrost in the far larger freezer section. Furthermore, a special initiator senses when the defrosting is needed, regardless of kitchen temperatures, humidity, or conditions of use. A special frost accumulator gathers all freezing moisture at one point and then automatically disposes of it. Frost never gets a chance to form in the food storage areas of the new Philco Air Wrap Refrigerator Freezer combination, because accumulation is prevented in the first place. In the famous Philco freezer, with all its features like the ice keeper, no defrosting. And of course, no defrosting in the Philco refrigerator, with all its convenient features that include everything from sliding shelves to the dairy bar in the door. Even the back of this Philco refrigerator is special, built flat so it can go flush against the wall. The door is built differently too, insulated with a new compound that the chemists literally grow in place so that not even the tiniest open space is left to let in air movement or temperature changes. All this is in addition to the completely new Philco Air Wrap, a development that ranks with the greatest refrigeration discoveries. Now, we may have made it sound a little too easy as we went along, so that's why I'd like to use this example. For centuries, folks had known that heat would turn water into steam, and that steam had some kind of pressure. But it took James Watt to combine these known facts and develop the steam engine with all its implications. And of course, as long as any of us have been around, folks knew that a combination of humidity, cold, and air would preserve foods. But it took Philco's research to find the exact combination of maximum humidity, near freezing cold, and no air movement to achieve maximum fresh food protection. Philco's Air Wrap is a basic discovery, a foundation stone for future refrigeration. And for this reason, others will someday follow the lead. But because it is basic, and because it is the maximum that can ever be attained in refrigeration, no one can ever exceed Philco's Air Wrap. It's available now in Philco's 18 cubic foot refrigerator, priced no higher than other deluxe refrigerators, and with every deluxe feature known today. And as the United States Testing Company laboratories report,
the refrigerators tested may be ranked in order of food preservation effectiveness as follows. Most effective, Philco Air Wrap.